if you are seeing the gun behave weird, and you're like, it's moving off that black paster, with the rifle, dude, it should like stay right on it, all right? Like it's not gonna move. So if it is moving, especially dry, as 100% you. So you need to think about, what am I doing? Some key culprits of making that gun move is your connection to the stock, right? We want to ideally get this entire thing engulfed in our body, right? You see a lot of this bullshit on the fucking internet, right? This is not good. This does not facilitate a good predictable reaction from the gun. I want that stock buried. Now, where I interface this stock on my body is specific to you, right? So whether it's here in the shoulder pocket, or it's a little bit more centerline, kind of in between the shoulder pocket and the pectoral, that's going to be you playing with your gun, figuring out what you like for your mount. All right? All of them can have positives and negatives, but it's subjective to you and what you feel like you can interface with that gun and not change anything. Does that make sense? All right. So for me, I'm kind of a little bit more in line. I like that primarily because when I bring the gun up, it just comes right in front of my eyes, right? Now, if you choose to mount in your shoulder pocket, there is a little bit of a technique that you can do where you don't have to bring your head over, right? Because if I just bring the gun up like this, the gun's not in front of my eyes, right? But if I mount the gun here and I shrug up like that, that brings the gun right in front of my eyes. So that's another technique you guys can play with when we're going through these doubles and finding out what you can do. But like I said, some of the major things where the gun will push is if any structure behind the gun changes, that drastically moves the gun. All right? So when we want to build a base behind the gun, we want to build a solid base, but it needs to be consistent. Just like with the pistol we learned yesterday, this cannot move. All right? Especially at speed, this will influence the gun. Same thing with my cheek connection. Yes, I want positive cheek connection on the gun. All right? But I don't want to be pushing on this motherfucker because that's going to really influence the gun. Same thing with my support hand. The support hand can heavily influence the gun. What I find works best for me is to let this arm hang, right? So I find a comfortable spot on this gun, and some of you guys might find, like, depending on where your hand stops are, that's probably maybe not the right spot for it, right? What I found is I used to be farther out on the gun, and then bringing my hand farther back made the gun react more predictable, right? Because when you bring your hand farther out, there starts to be a little tension that develops in the arm. That tension at speed can easily transfer into the gun and start steering it, right? So when I brought my hand back and I let the just elbow hang neutral, it really didn't kind of manipulate the front of the gun at all, right? Does that make sense? Now, this is going to be very subjective to you. You're going to find with your body type what you like. But these are the key things that I want you thinking about when you're smashing on the trigger to pay attention to. What is my support arm doing? What is my connection to the gun doing? And then also, you probably won't see it now, but as you start shooting at speed, this hand can really influence the gun a lot, all right? Especially at distance. So I try to keep this hand very relaxed. All I want to do is deactivate the safety selector and press the trigger, right? You won't see it close up, but when we start getting farther back and you start smashing on that trigger, same thing with a pistol. If you start pulling on this, that little bit of movement is huge at distance, right? So right now, let's just start off doing it correctly, right? Building good reps throughout the day of keeping this hand relaxed and not letting it influence the gun, all right? So we're aware of what our dot's doing, but our vision is connected to the black paster.